These are the most requested cars for Forza Horizon 6. You may or may not already be aware that over on the Forza forums there's a suggestions hub, which includes a page for car suggestions, which can then be upvoted by other members of the community for the developers to get some kind of idea what the community would like to be added. This was initially set up for us to request cars for the current game. However, the Forza Horizon section doesn't specifically just cover Horizon 5, it's cars we'd like to see in the Horizon series. And with no more cars being added to Horizon 5 at this point, this list now applies presumably to Horizon 6. So let's go over the 15 vehicles that are most requested right at the top of this list. Each vehicle listed covers several model variants, which are listed in the form of polls below each vehicle to give the developers an idea which version would be most popular. Starting with the 15th most requested vehicle, the latest generation of Ram pickup truck. And you'll see, if we look at the listing, that it covers the Ram 1500, 1500 REV, the electric version, and 1500 TRX, with polls below to vote on whether it's petrol, diesel or electric, the capacity, whether it in fact is that 1500, or some of the even bigger capacity engines, and the trim level of the trucks. Then we have the Kia Stinger in 14th place, which only featured in Forza Horizon 4, with just over 1,000 votes. In 13th place is the Gumpert Apollo, with 1,143 votes. This car hasn't been seen in a Horizon game since the first title 13 years ago. There would possibly be a question of how possible licensing is with this one, because Gumpert has changed ownership and is now called Apollo, making the Intensa Emozione, of course. So technically we kind of already have their cars, but under their previous name, and I don't know whether Apollo owns the rights to the older Gumpert cars. They did make some cars that were based on the Gumpert when Apollo first took over, so potentially this could still work, but it might be difficult. Next we have the third of the special project Ferraris. The Daytona SP3 is in 12th with 1,195 votes, which would be a brand new addition to the Horizon series and would sit very nicely alongside the Monza SP2 that we currently have in Horizon 5. And just ahead of the Ferrari is, as is traditional of course, a Ford. The S197 generation of the Mustang GT500, which is the 2000s era model, slightly older than one of the ones we currently have in-game, with 1,237 votes. For some reason, in 10th place is a Honda Civic. The 5th generation Civic has 1,622 votes, and I really hope if it does get added, it isn't as stupidly fast as the other Civics we currently have in-game. I believe this featured in some of the older motorsport games, which might be why it's popular among players of the later games. According to the forums, the 9th most requested car is another not particularly interesting Honda, to me at least. The 8th generation of the Accord has 1,743 votes, and it kind of makes sense now, Hondas for a Japan location, but these would have been being voted for way back when they were still adding cars to Horizon 5. And this continues, from one old Japanese saloon to another. The Toyota Chaser is in 8th place, which probably isn't terribly surprising to be honest, with 1,803 votes. This listing actually covers the Toyota Mark II that we currently have in Motorsport, as well as the Cresta, and of course the Chaser itself, which are all similar, but not quite the same car. To be fair, this, and as I said with the two Hondas previously, would all be ideal additions for a game set in Japan, but I'm still not quite sure why they're voted so highly when most of these votes were before we even knew where Horizon 6 was going to be set. I know these cars have a big following, but yeah, I've never really got them. In 7th place, we have the ever-elusive Maserati MC20, which has been rumoured and in fact leaked by Forza so many times now, it would be ridiculous if it didn't appear in Horizon 6. Photos of this car in Horizon 5 have previously been shared by the developers, we think by mistake, but it was never added as a playable car for us. It also appeared in a thumbnail for one of the championships in Forza Motorsport, despite never being in that game either. On the forums, it has 1,865 votes, with the post covering the Coupe, Convertible, and GT2 Stradale, but not the track-only MC Extrema, which has its own category, because it's quite a different car. Then, with 1,876 votes, we have the Chevrolet Chevy, which is essentially what the old-shaped Vauxhall Corsa, the Corsa B, was sold as in Mexico. This was a weird one, because I think it actually got voted for a lot when the developers, they kind of suggested that it might be added, and then it sort of wasn't, and then it was voted for, rather than being voted for and then being suggested that it might come to the game. It was all a bit back to front and a little bit odd, but anyway, this car would have only really made sense in Horizon 5, given it's the Mexican market version, so in Horizon 6, we'd probably need it to be the Opel version, to be honest, to make most sense in that game. Although I'm not sure how much sense this car would make at all, now that it's not the Mexican market version for a Mexican game. That kind of made sense as to why they would add such an ordinary car, but it would kind of be interesting to see it in Horizon 6, I suppose. In 5th place is the first generation Fiat Uno with 1,898 votes, which is essentially an 80s box, like a lot of other ones. I do quite like it, so I would kind of be pleased if we saw this. I would love some of these quite ordinary cars, to be honest. Whether it's an Opel Corsa, a Fiat Uno, the Hondas mentioned earlier. As much as I'm not excited by them, we do need some cars like that to balance all of the supercars and hypercars. Speaking of which, in 4th place is the Bugatti Bolide, with 2,103 votes. I suspect the reason why we haven't seen it in Horizon 5 is because it's a Motorfest exclusive, potentially. But it has been in that game for a little while now, so it may be licensable for other titles, and therefore Forza might be able to get this into Horizon 6. Then we get into the top 3. In 3rd place is yet another Toyota, the Altezza. Well, actually the Lexus IS, to be more specific, but both are actually mentioned in the post below. It has 2,218 votes, and I know this is a popular car, but again, like with the other Toyotas, I never really understood it, I never really got the hype around it, but I do have to admit, either the Lexus or Toyota version of this would be perfect in a Japanese location in Horizon 6. In 2nd place is the incredible Koenigsegg Gemera with 2,231 votes. Again, this is also in Motorfest, actually being introduced way back in the Crew 2 originally, so I can't see any reason why Forza shouldn't be able to license this for Horizon 6, and it's just different to everything else. It's a proper 4-seat hypercar, essentially. Whether it's the little 3-cylinder, tiny, friendly, giant engine, or the big V8 one that they've realised now fits, either would be fantastic. And finally, the most requested car, with by far the most votes, 2,963 people have upvoted the Mercedes SLR McLaren to make a comeback to the series. This post includes the SLR, SLR Sterling Moss, SLR 722 Edition, SLR MSO, SLR HDK, but not the 722 GT, which was essentially the race car. This has been way out in front, at the top of the list for such a long time now. I think there were things ahead, but they all got added to Horizon 5, so to be fair, the developers have done quite a good job of introducing several of the cars that were on this list, but yeah, this SLR really needs to make a comeback for Horizon 6. I still can't really see why it's not possible. I know you would need a Mercedes and McLaren license probably to get it into the game, but Motorfest and Gran Turismo have both managed to include it, so it is obviously possible to license it, and given it's in more than one game, there's probably no kind of exclusivity deal on it either. So it's just about, I think, personally, whether Forza can be bothered to negotiate with Mercedes and McLaren to introduce this car, but given it's right at the top of the list, and they have tried quite hard with some of the most suggested cars for Horizon 5, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we saw the SLR McLaren arrive back in Horizon 6, and I would be very, very pleased if it did. And those are the 15 most requested cars for Forza Horizon 6. If any of them particularly caught your eye, don't forget to go over to the Forza forums and upvote them yourself to increase their chance further of appearing in Horizon 6, either at launch or later down the line. Like I say, with Horizon 5 they did introduce several of these, so yeah, make sure you vote, because there is a chance they will come to the next game. And let me know your thoughts on the cars in the list in general. But for today's video, that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next one very soon.